go to the gradient tool in the tools panel of Photoshop. With that selected, go up here and select a gradient. Now I'm just going to go with this one. This is blue, red, yellow. Should have it. If you haven't, go to the window menu, gradients, and then go to the right side menu and select the legacy section to bring back the gradients. And you can select that one and use it radial and normal. So you've got a nice, and you can always click there and always create it red, blue, red, and yellow. And just apply it. Just drag across, and you can apply it a couple of times because I often never get it right first time, so I just apply it. I think, you know what, that's what I want. I want reasonable about blue, but I want that nice central there. I want to duplicate this. I want to use it later. I want to have a couple of copies. So you could do 5 or 6. You could layer it, though sometimes it just really beyond about 1 or 2, it's not so effective. So I'm just going to go to layer and duplicate, just so I can back it up. But you can also use the history panel and create a snapshot of it. That's just as easy as well. So you've got now this copy, and I'm going to use that later. So background copy. What I want to do is apply the Pointillize effect. But before I do that, make certain you set the background color there, and that's going to be here. It's black. So black there, but you could make it white or something. Anything that's not in the image, basically. No, there's no black in there. You can't really go with green because when you actually use Pointillize, it will turn slightly green, so that's not so effective. So now go to filter menu and pixelate and Pointillize. There's the Pointillize effect, tucked away, right down the bottom. And you can modify this. So you can go for, say, very big. And I'm going to go very big, and I'm going to go for fairly small. I'm going to do combination. So just go for a fairly big size first. And that cell size about 100, depends on the document, of course, 180. If you're using 5,000 by 5,000, maybe that's not going to be effective either. And you can see the result there. You've got your Pointillize effect. And that's what I say about the green. Now, there's no black there, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to select that black. And I'm going to use the magic wand. So magic wand, that's my usual go-to tool for just select, very quick selection. Just select an area, any of the black. Because then you can go to select and similar. And they're all selected then. I want the inverse, so what I do, go to select and inverse. So now that Pointillize effect. Now it would be lovely if the Pointillize effect created the design without the background. I'm not certain why I've never added that feature. However, what you can do, edit and copy, and then edit and paste. So now you've got a layer. You can see that layer, and if I just deselect those other ones, you can see the layer, transparency all the way through. So I can go here to effects. So click there and bevel emboss. Now you could use some of the other ones, stroke, satin, color overlay, etc. But I'm going to go with bevel emboss. And you can vary it. Maybe go for smooth. And you can see you've got a whole range of different settings here. And you can of course add, like I say, drop shadow if you want to drop shadow there. Sometimes it over dominates, I think that. But you can tweak that, tweak this, change the angle and so on. And you can see the depth you can add to this design. So a bit more work on that, but that's the general approach to get something like that. Now, that's the first stage. So I'm just going to now go back to this one, bring that back. Make certain you select the layer. It's not any good if you don't select the layer as well as make it visible. And now I can do exactly the same. So I'm just going to go with this. Again, I've got black as the colour there. Makes sense. I always decide to try and join. It's one of those features that I sometimes like, sometimes I don't. And so make certain it's black there. It's just so helpful having a black background there. Then go to filter and down to pixelate and Pointillize. And again, you'll see you've got that black background. That's what you want. Just makes it easier. And this time I'm going to reduce the size down. I'm going to go for very small. Obviously, I've got a very big background before. This time I'm going to go for small. This is 46. So click OK. Do exactly the same as before. Magic wand. And I can set now, sometimes it's a bit harder. It would be nice if you could actually change the spacing as well. It's one of those filters you think there's so many things potential for this filter. It's like literally could be a million times better. But anyway, you get what you get. So select and similar. And again, you've got all the black selected. I don't want that. I want the inverse. So I'm just going to go select and inverse. Now that effect is selected. And then I can, of course, exactly the same as before, edit and copy. and edit and paste. Now you can see what happens. I've got that one there and I can deselect that one and you can see the effect there. Make certain it's selected, always a key thing. Don't try and start working on another one. Quite easily done by me anyway. Bevel and emboss, and again you could do that exactly the same, so you can see the bevel effect there. And again you can change it. You can always turn around and say, well, I don't want it this time. I want emboss or I want chisel. Just try, you might want different effects, combine it, maybe slightly change shading, whatever. Maybe not, because you probably want it all to be the same direction, etc. Click OK, and you can see the effect there. Now what I can do, I can bring the other one back. So there's that one and there's that one. And now of course that's on top. That's easy solved, because what you do, just drag it up. You can drag at any point these layers and you can see the effect added on top of the other one. Now if you've got this effect and that one and it sort of drowns it out, I always think sometimes I look and think, oh, you know what, I can make it out. That's why I'd love the spacing. Spacing would be brilliant if you could just, you can't. Or use blending modes. Maybe go dark and just go through them and to see what you feel that works. You can see then the effects start to blend and you've got a different thing. But it's a pity that, like I say, the spacing is not available. That would make it so much nicer. However, once you've done all that, what you can do, you can go to Layer and Flatten Image. After all that adding depth and everything, I'm just going to flatten the whole thing. Yes, don't want them. So you can see now, or of course I can just undo again, because I can bring back. I thought, you know what, maybe the black will be better, the background. Or maybe have that selected, just have that background. Now, I could have created another copy. In fact, you could also just create another background. I've still got the gradient. So it would have been probably better to have 3 or 4 of these things and that's why a history snapshot is very useful. And then you can just go to the gradient tool again and just add the gradient. Just add it again. And I can see obviously there, just apply it again. So it doesn't look black and white or whatever the background, so I can get actually to fill the whole thing. So that probably would work better. So you can see now I've got a background with that gradient, sort of on the same position. No, it doesn't have to be in the same position. You can move it over slightly so you can change the position. It doesn't have to be exactly the same. Why? Because the next thing I'm going to do is now I am going to flatten it all. Flatten image. And again, always comes up with that. Yes, do it, please flatten it. That's what I've asked him for. And I don't know, Photoshop loves having lots of panels and dialogues. Well, now I've flattened it, you can see the structure. It's got lots of ripples and backwards and forwards. Now I'm just going to ruin it completely by going to Filter and my favourite Stylize and Oil Paint. And you can see then with Oil Paint, I've now really smeared it in, but I've got this like layers, you can see it. So it's not all perfect, which is the thing I like with a sort of, I hate effects that really just one click. So it's always nice to actually give sort of bits of depth that are slightly chunkier, which is something you can't do if you just do one. You can have small, big, and some variability in it. And you can change the stylization, cleanliness. Just push those up to the max. Now you can also, which is something I very rarely do again because I'm not so enamoured by that intense, the black lines it creates. Wish they would change that. The bristle detail. Yeah, you can change that, but lighting, it's up to you. But personally, I'm not so enamoured by the lighting bit. That's why I often just keep it without the lighting. And you can apply it. And now again, sometimes it's just good to apply it a couple of times. Just one go doesn't always exactly create what I want. So you've got this design now and you've got that depth, you've got the ripples through all the way through the thing. And, well, you can always go to Image menu, Auto Tone, just try some adjustments, maybe tweak it, maybe vibrance, as if it's not vibrant enough already. Just go for vibrance and just boost it up and just tweak, change things, etc. Up to you what you want to do with it. Or apply some other effects, or maybe some various brush tools to smudge areas that you're not happy with. Maybe you think, you know what, there's a bit here where it's just not right, requires a bit maybe of work. We'd go to smudge tool and just sort of, not that one because it's lighten, maybe just go for normal and just smudge it. Now I'm using the cut, I've got fingerprinting on, painting on, finger painting even, not fingerprinting. It'd be nice if it fingerprinting, but you can just, I always call it fingerprinting. I don't know why. It's just stuck in my head as fingerprinting, and it always is. But you can just tweak it. And you can see you can then just slightly, you don't have to, and you can of course then using the smudge. I think the smudge is a great little feature that you can just, or maybe the mixer, just tweak it, because you don't want, if you see some like really sharp lines and there's some bits here, it just sort of stands out, I think. And you got that, and you can modify, of course, and tweak it a bit more. Of course, what you can also do is you can always go and select it again, create a selection, and then use multiple layers. So this, now obviously there's not any black in this now, but I can always go for select color range. And I can just go through there, and you can see then I can tweak these settings, sample colors, and you can just go through there and maybe decide, you know what, I just want that area selected. And again, exactly the same as before, edit and copy, edit and paste. And then when you've got a layer, and again, you can go to bevel and emboss. So bevel and emboss, and you can just add a little bit more, just subtle difference there, just to give it. And of course you can tweak it in a bevel and so on. Don't have to go full on size up like that, and just change it. If you just want that extra, just change a subtle difference. I think it's always good to experiment. And of course, thing is, it's a layer, and layers are great because you can delete them. If you decide, you know what, that wasn't effective, just get rid of it. Well, hope you found this of interest. Any questions, please put in the comments below. Thank you much.